I told a guy that I was waiting till marriage. It was our 5th date. We were trying to decide if we wanted to be exclusive or not, expectations and what that would look like. And we talked about my waiting for marriage for about an hour. And he had a lot of questions, and I was like trying to answer them to the best of my ability and explain where I'm coming from and why it's important to me. He was really nice about it, like just a gentleman, just wanting to understand. And I told him, I know that this is a lot to take in, and I want you to be able to make the best decision for you. So please, take a couple days. Don't think about my emotions. Just think about what you need in a relationship, and give me a call back in a couple days. I've been waiting for the phone call all day, and I'm like, I know that it'll be good either way. Like, this is just how it is. Like, if I'm gonna choose to, set myself apart in Christ, then this is what dating looks like. But it just feels kind of bad to be waiting for his phone call, waiting to see, am I worth dating if I don't have sex? And I'm like, he hasn't called yet, and it's 8 p.m. And so I'm like, well, maybe he's not calling because he'll show up to my place with flowers and tell me that that's not what he was interested in me. And
and that's your error right there. I was with you, and then that's your having those expectations and fantasy. That's what's gonna break you. That's what's gonna break your heart. If you think that you should save yourself for the right one, that's on you, boo boo. And if he doesn't want that, it's more about him than you. It's not your worth. It's him. That did not align with what he wants. But having he's gonna show up with flowers and it might happen, and it's great if it happens. But if it doesn't, the deception is gonna be grand. But yeah.
Tell me that that's not why he was interested in me, and that he wants to be in a relationship with me either way, and that I'm worth it. But is that unrealistic? I don't know. I just wish that I was worth a big gesture, because right now I don't even know if I'm worth a phone call. And it hurts a little bit. But either way, I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's gonna restrict the people that are gonna be able to accept that. But I mean, you don't want those people according to your faith. That's not what you're really looking for. Rejection stings. It does. Even if those is because of those barriers, and those barriers are set by you. When it's like, oh yeah, it's a no for me. That's nah. It's still it's a possibility that it stings. It's more about him, not in a bad way. Just it's about him. That rejection is about him. He does not align with what you want. Move on. It might be harder to find your match and find someone that's gonna align with that. Do you have to change your faith or how you see this because of that? That's how you feel. But I gotta be real with you. It might be a little bit harder. But I'm trying to be nice here.
I'll be honest.
It's gonna be hard as fuck.
I don't think it's necessarily going to be more difficult. I think it just means that you have to search appropriately, right?
It's a challenge.
So it's one of those situations where it's like, if you want to...
You got to go on Christian mingle?
You want to meet a Jewish boy, might have to date a Jewish boy.
Jewish mingle.
I think it makes no sense to date someone who's not Jewish and then,
expect that from them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'd have to ask, what's this guy's faith level? Is he anywhere near you? I think 5 dates to spring that on somebody is a bit long. I think you should probably mention that pretty early on, especially if it's something that's important to you. Most people I've known who were into that tell you on the first or second date, especially when things about faith happen. For me, marriage is really important. I want to wait till marriage. 5 dates a bit much, in my opinion.
5 days is a bit much.
Especially if you're talking in between, that should have come up a while back. But I'm not going to get on you too much for that.
Well, she's also super young, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relatively. But
experience.
Also, the whole thing about sex, she said one thing, she's like, am I not worth waiting for? It's not about that for everyone. Some people, they're impatient. They just want to have sex. Some people have bad intentions. They just want to sleep with you and disappear. But also for some folks, it's like the idea of waiting till marriage is like, What if we were sexually incompatible and now we're till death do us part? For some folks, they don't want to take that risk. And you might be like, but you're overblowing it. I'm telling you right now, there's plenty of people who are married to somebody and they have zero sexual chemistry. And for some folks, it's a little bit important to have that kind of intimacy that they really enjoy and they really like. Other folks, it's not the case. So I'm not just saying like, religious people have less fulfilling sex marriage. I think that's not true. I think a lot of them self-report that they are happier. But for a lot of folks, they would like to have that kind of intimacy going in. For them, it's part of what's important. Yeah, and you made a comment before where she was like hoping for the guy to show up and do that big gesture or whatever. I get where she's coming from. I think when you like somebody and things are going seemingly well, when there's like a period of no communication, you're not detached from it. So you're like, oh, maybe the person got hit by a car. You start thinking like, wow, shit. Maybe the person, just needs more time to think it over. You're going to think all the possibilities because in your head, like, we have such a good vibe. We have such a good thing going. You guys are watching at home. Have y'all not liked somebody? And then things were going south, but you didn't even realize it. And in your head, you were rationalizing every most unlikely scenario in your head. It sounds like it's just the same thing for her. And she's hoping that what she felt, that she thought the other person felt, is still there. Yeah, the logic that you're talking about isn't going to factor in for somebody like that until they've come to really accept the fact that, like, oh, okay, this shit really did. But it's a standard, I think it's a standard reaction.
I'm not saying that it's officially dead or anything like that. But there's a difference between, I think he wants to take more time to think about it or whatever, then I really hope he brings flowers to my doorstep and say that everything is, that's a scenario. There's a difference between, I hope he's okay and he needs more time. That's, for me, that's very neutral. That's on the level of very, very neutral. I wish he comes to my doorstep with flowers. That's expectations. We're no longer in the realm of neutral. You're having expectations of a certain scenario happening. And to me, that's a recipe for disappointment.
I agree it's a recipe for disappointment, but everyone's going to hope for a good scenario.
Sure.
Everyone's essentially what she's doing with this whole like bring me flowers. All she's really saying is, I'll be going to come here and reassure me that you want me for me. Right? Because what she say, I'll be going to show up at my door with flowers and tell me that sex was never really part of the equation. I really want you. Maybe all she's really saying with that is, oh, you really wanted me for me and not the physical contact.
Maybe I'm too literal.
Fair. I think all she just wants the phone call for him to be like, I want you. That's all. So, you can imagine whatever kind of scenario. Like, girl, knock on my door and tell me you want to suck my dick. Right? Everyone can imagine whatever they want. Well, of course I want. I can't wait to. You're 12-inch super Negro. Right? Super Negro. How is she going to know that you have a 10-inch donker on you if she's never slept with you?
Because, you don't wait for marriage.
Facts. I don't even wait to wait.
You don't wait to wait.
I don't know what waiting is.
I don't want to
wait. When you want to have sex? Now. She said her last line was...
Because right now I don't even know if I'm worth a phone call.
You're worth waiting for the man who values you in that sense and values your values, right? Value.
Value.
All right.
Value. Take that in. Just repeat it to yourself until it makes sense.
I value. I took her to Value Village. Now we about to make a village. 3 babies, 4 babies, 5 babies. Noah's Ark's full. It ain't cow's milk. It ain't chickens.
Why did you get triggered? Because you said value.
It's not that. It's not. I value.
Yeah, oh, no, I got that. I don't care about that. Uh-huh. Why did you get triggered? Because value rhymes with value, and then you said, "Oh, let me rhyme this shit up."
What you mean?
Like, why did you break it down? Like, why?
Because I'm catching the Holy Spirit. She waiting for marriage. I'm waiting for a bar.
Yeah, we're still waiting.
Okay. Locked up like prison bars. Get you a granola bar. Okay. To go back.
Don't ever do that shit again, bro.
All right. You're going to meet someone who's going to share your values. And at that point, I think a lot of this stuff is just going to make a lot more sense. It sounds like you guys just weren't aligned both on a faith standpoint and maybe also your intensity of faith or how much you adhere. Some people got certain levels of Christianity. Others are not open to certain things. And so that's something that you have to establish with that person, especially if faith is important to you. Like, I, for the life of me, don't understand people who have, like, a very strong faith background and then start talking to people who don't share the same faith as them and then like know it's a conflict. It's like, yo, sort that shit out.
Because they really think it's a norm. And that's what they believe in is the truth. And it's a norm. And everybody should, like, it's common sense. They treat it like it's common sense. I was in a religion. I'm not. And when I speak to those people, still, again, they're talking to people that are outside of the religion like if it's just a normal thing. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to. That's just the standard. And you're like, but that's not my standard. That's yours. Yeah, but it's the good thing to do. I'm like, wait, You're treating this thing like it's universal law, their algorithm. And they're looking at their fate like it's a normal standard, like this their algorithm, because they're surrounded with that. And when they see someone that touches grass, they're like, why are you not aware of that? Yay, you are in that algorithm. That is your standard of no ex before marriage and stuff like that. That's not all the rest of us.
I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I get what you're saying.
But
in my experience,
go ahead.
People who have a very strong faith background have faced negative comments about it from people who are not religious. Sure. So they know it's not the standard. I don't believe that at all. And not only do they know that, but normally when they bring it up, there's a lot of barbed wire around it because you can tell they've had comments. What Christian has not seen negative comments about their faith online and outside in dating? It could be Muslims. Muslims hear from their parents, you better marry a Muslim. No. They hear it all the time. And Christians hear just negative comments in general about Christianity from everybody everywhere. That's a normal thing. Even when you're on dating apps, you see motherfuckers being like, if you're Christian, don't even fucking bother. So it's very difficult to be someone of faith, to be dating, and to not know some of the negative things that people think about it. And when I've had women talk to me before about like waiting to first date, that's something that I can tell when they're bringing it up, they're like, how is he going to take this? It's important for me to say it, but how is he? Because they're not just being like, oh yeah, I'm just waiting. No, they're saying it in a ways like, for me, I'm not going to lie, I want to be upfront. Waiting till marriage is something that's important for me. And they're looking at you to see your reaction. They're looking at your face. So my experience has never been like, les gens ne savent pas. At least in a dating context. I'm not saying outside of dating context what you're saying is not right. But in dating, people know, even her, when she had this conversation with him, did you see what she said? She said, take some time, think it over. Nah. What does that mean? She knows what she's saying is a big deal. And she's giving him all the disclaimers to try to make it as safe for him to process his information. And she's young. If a young girl like her knows that, you can imagine a lot of people in her generation are very similar.
Sure.
Faith is very important to some people. And I think romance is important to a lot of them as well. And they're trying to reconcile. There's like a cognitive dissonance where they're trying to have the romance without ever really delving into the faith aspect of it. Like they'll say like they want a God-fearing man, but if he's not, but he ticks off a lot of the boxes, they're like, maybe I could finagle this motherfucker. And then, and to me, it's just,
it doesn't work like
it's
that.
like heartbreak waiting to happen a lot of the times. And there's this constant tug of war because then questions about raising kids come up and it's like, how are we going to raise the kids? And are we going to be on the same page? Again, that's everyone's business, your faith, your dating life, whatever. But just me listening to her, it doesn't sound like maybe she's leading with that as much as she should, considering how important her faith sounds like it is to her.
The people that are, I'm not just asking a question, the people that are doing that, right, dating outside of their religious standards, you think it's because they want to turn into a motherfucker? They want to turn out, let me get
Convert
you.
them?
Yeah, turn them. Vampires, whatever. I'm just kidding.
I don't think so because you can tell they wish the person was already the religion that they had. So it's not a question of turning somebody. It's like dating is tough enough as it is for a lot of people. So they meet someone they like. It's like, oh, well, religion's going to be the thing that stops us. But maybe he can change. Maybe he can be open. Maybe my family will accept.
But
that's why a lot of dudes go after non-Muslim people, right? And they get these girls to convert.
Yeah.
Would they prefer if these girls were already Muslim? Absolutely, because their family's going to be way happier. Everything's going to be a lot easier. So I don't think anybody goes into it being like, oh, you're not gay? Well, we can see about that.
That's how gay things. Anyways.
No, some of them. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, yeah, of course, some of them. It's not most of them. Anyways,
no, definitely not. You're right.
That's not.
You're right. Because marriage is not like something that's separate from religion. It's really integrated. Like it's part of the whole thing. So it's important for a lot of people to have that. It's also important for a lot of people for their family to look favorably on their relationship and their marriage.
Yeah.
Having somebody of a different faith is generally not something people want, but it's something that they'll tolerate if it means that they'll meet the right person. I could be wrong though. Just because someone is of faith doesn't mean they don't have a tremendous amount of individuality. I don't think people become of a faith and all of a sudden become like a 180 person. A lot of them still maintain a lot of the same habits, a lot of the same stuff. I met Christian people who were into Warhammer. They were into dancing. They were into salsa. They were into whatever. Like, it's a very multivariate in terms of personality.
Sure,
I don't think it's like
there's levels to it.
Yeah. Personally, I really just think you meet somebody, they treat you well, you get very excited. And nobody leads with, I'm a Christian, right? So you just get invested in the person. And then the question comes up, but you're like, I'm really liking my time. I'm not going to stop. And I think that's just kind of how this stuff unravels. But I mean, listen, maybe Preacher's right. And you guys can let us know in the comments because I'm not over here doing, Christian mingle surveys. So I completely get it. And there's nothing wrong with the standard that you have. I just think maybe it's important for you to establish that early on and also meet people who really are at your level in terms of, the religious aspect of it. 5 dates to me, way too long. Way too long.
I think that's facts.
Yeah. I think by the
That's
second
facts.
date, especially if you're talking in between, you guys should be, especially if you're religious, it doesn't make sense to me to not talk to somebody and talk about what you expect out of a relationship and marriage, because it's going to be really binding and very, forward like that. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to, in my opinion.
100%.
That's all for me. Anything else?
No.
All right, girl. Best of luck to you. All right.